Hey y'all, wanted to make a little video today, so I got some thoughts I wanted to share and some data, especially for Tennessee turkey hunters. This is extremely important. And for our Tennessee Wildlife Commission, I hope that they end up seeing this. So I've been researching this for a while, kind of compiled all these things. And I'm not putting blame on anybody, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just going to merely show you what I've seen, and you can make your own opinions about it at that point. So this started in 2020. Tennessee had a 40,000 bird harvest, which was one of the highest we've ever had. It, stemmed from COVID, a lot of people being off work, that kind of thing was a huge driver of that. So I watched the 2020 commission meeting, and I have clips from that meeting that I'm going to put in this video. So at that meeting, there were public comment plus a lot of the actual commissioners expressed their concerns for our turkey population. Multiple times they said we've overshot the flock. So obviously they understand things went a little too far in 2020. So, and many of the public comments were about how their turkey populations are decimated. And that's on private, public, all kinds of land. We obviously understand, at least in most of Tennessee, turkeys are declining. It's happening all around us too, in Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi. A lot of these other states are taking pretty large precautions because of this. So Tennessee, in this 2020 commission meeting, they also talked a lot about how they're doing this huge study, millions of dollars been poured into it for turkeys here in Tennessee. So at this meeting, they bring up, the biologists actually say that they recommend not reducing the bag limit because they said they didn't think it would make a big difference, and they didn't want to skew the data of their study that they have going on. And so they had a chart, and I'll throw it up here. So the fourth bird accounts for 1,247 turkeys killed in the 5-year average from 16 including 20. So very small fraction. So anyway, I'm going to throw some of these clips up here. Basically what they end up coming to at the end, they were going to reduce it to 2 birds, but because the biologists on the study said that might skew our data in the study too much, don't do that. Then they proposed 3. They said that wouldn't affect it. It's only a loss of 1,200 turkeys total statewide. It wouldn't skew the data. They vote on it, as you'll see, passes with flying colors. But anyway, here's some clips. Commissioners are all seated behind tables, what they have to say about our turkey population. And then there's Steve, who is a biologist himself. He has a master's degree in wildlife fisheries and science, he stated when he went up there, who lives in Tennessee. And he's the guy standing at the microphone expressing his concerns and basically begging them, please change some stuff because our turkeys are declining in mass across the whole state. So here's clips from that meeting. I'll just kind of piece them together and then come back after that to go further.
Helped a lot on the concerns I have. I know there's a lot of people concerned about lowering the limit or shortening the season. They're just concerned about overall population.
Addressing turkey regulations on a statewide basis out of my concern with where we're at right now. I've watched my flock on a large lease drop by probably 2/3 in the last 5 years. If it were just me, I would not be up here before you, but I'm networked into hunters from across the state, ranging from far west Tennessee to the mountains of East Tennessee, that are reporting the same things. Literally 100+ years of boots on the ground, turkey observations, turkey hunting experience. They are in agreement with me that we have overshot our flock and that we need to address that. So I'm here to ask for regulation changes. I would like to see
said, and we've heard today that we may have a little bit of a disagreement as far as the biological impacts, but I believe that we have put a lot of pressure on our turkeys while this pandemic's been going on. And we're just making, we're just setting the seasons for the next couple of years. So I think it would be to our benefit to lower the bag limit this year for the next couple of years.
Gives us better breeding success. Well, saving 10,000 gobblers gives us better breeding success too. I think they accomplish the same thing, so I think there is a biologic component of it. If we reduce the limit to 2 and save this number of birds, and some of those will survive to breed the next year, it's kind of the same thing.
We seem to be falling back on the science and the doctors and the studies, and that's extremely important. And I get that, but we also hear from all the hunters that everybody's saying our turkey population is declining. I asked Joe, do we even know how many turkeys the entire state
Turkey
has?
hunter and as a biologist, I want to express my frustration. We are watching, turkey hunters are, surrounding states address their decline by making their seasons open later to address the breeding success, lowering bag limits, whatever. Tennessee is choosing to study as things go down the tubes. I'm all for data, but in my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of turkey hunters across the state, it's time for some action. It's time for us to do what some of the surrounding states, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas, have done and address this decline with some things that probably are going to work rather than waiting another couple of years for data that may or may not give us an answer. I don't think we can wait we're doing a 2-year license deal right now. I don't think we can wait 2 more years to address this. Thank you for time.
First, I want to read this summary, the 2020 spring season summary. Right here, it plainly tells us future hunting success likely lower for a few years. I mean, I feel that way too. I really feel with this gentleman back here, we have overshot our flock. Numbers around my area in East Tennessee and my areas in West Tennessee, I've saw numbers over the last 5 years. I know I don't have half the turkeys that I used to. I would like to see us at least make a change to go to 3 birds limit per season.
3 bearded birds. Commissioner Ripley, I've got you for a second. Do I still have you for a second? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Okay, that was easier.
All right, so Steve and the commissioners, almost all of them, realize turkey populations are going down. Things do not look good for the wild turkey in the state of Tennessee. So they reached the conclusion, let's reduce the bag by 1 down to 3. That'll save a few birds, 1,400 or whatever it was. And, let's feel good about that, because then they don't skew that out on the study. What will most likely happen after the study is it will get reduced to 2, or we'll lose days off the season. So we're losing a lot of opportunity, especially residents like myself of this state. We're the residents who live here. We lost a bird off the bag. I'm not saying this in a braggy way, or I'm alpha turkey hunter guy. I usually got my 4 every year, and I have a specific rule for myself. I only shoot 1 turkey per property, whether that's a 50,000 acre WMA or a 15 acre piece of private land. If I kill 1 turkey there, I'm done. I'm not coming back. And that's what I've done for years, and it pays off for me. But I did typically get my 4 turkeys, and they took 1 from me. So essentially they took a bird off, out of my freezer that I don't get per year now in my home state. And I was fine with that. I was totally okay with that. I saw the need. I've seen it myself. We're in decline. I'm okay with giving up a turkey. That's okay with me. But here's the catch. So you do this, obviously concerned about populations. You're doing stuff to try to reduce harvest. That's what they did. We're going to take a bird off the limit to reduce harvest. You would think that would work. Well, in 2021, I don't know if, some wires got crossed between the marketing department and these guys. I don't know what happened with what's going on up there, but they chose to not only promote hunting, they promoted specifically turkey hunting to mass amounts of people. And that blows my mind. So, their goal was to reduce it by 1,200 and basically 1,300 turkeys by taking the fourth bird off. Well, let's look at what happened last year on harvest. Last year we killed 32,710 birds. That is less than 2020. I'll give you that. It's quite a bit less. We also have less turkeys, but if we throw out the outlier of 2020 and look at 5 years prior, the average from 2015 to 2019 is 31,752 birds. So in 2021, we killed 957 birds over the average for 5 years prior to 2020. Here's that graphic. I'll show you that now. So how could that be? You reduced the bag limit, but we're still killing more than the average. So was the goal achieved after this meeting of, hey, we're going to try to help out the turkeys. We know they're in bad shape. Let's take a bird off the bag so we kill less. No, the goal is not achieved. We're still killing above the average in a declining resource. So overall, we're killing a greater percentage of the remaining gobblers because we have less turkeys. So what happened? So what I saw on Facebook, someone mentioned the hunting public, and they responded that they work with Tennessee. And that had my attention immediately. And I thought, what do they mean by work with? Surely that's, volunteer work, or, Tennessee wouldn't pay them to come, right? And then I saw this video that I'm going to show you on our TWRA Instagram that has one of the hunting public guys saying, if you're a non-resident, come here. This is really good turkey hunting. This is one of our favorite states to hunt eastern wild turkeys. Come here. And if you're a resident, you need to go buy tags. Promoting our turkey hunting. So here's that.
A question we get asked all the time at THP is which state is our favorite to hunt? And it's really hard just to pick one, but for turkeys, hunting easterns, Tennessee is really, really hard to beat. If you're looking to travel to hunt anywhere, you ought to look into Tennessee. If you live in Tennessee, then I don't know what you've been doing, but you need to be buying some turkey tags and getting into spring woods, because these things are hammering right now, and it's a good time. We're having a blast.
Okay, so that's one thing. He's behind a fanned out gobbler, specifically says if you want to travel to come turkey hunting, come to Tennessee. It's one of our favorites. So that might not have had a huge impact, but these guys have 357,000 followers on Instagram. That's just Instagram. They have Facebook too, and YouTube. And they put out 4 videos last year that all said Tennessee public land turkeys. Those 4 videos, culmination, had 639,000 views. Top one at 175,000 views. That's a lot of eyeballs seeing those videos of them killing turkeys on public land in Tennessee. And then them telling the masses, this is one of our favorites, come hunt it. I don't blame the hunting public for doing that. That's what they do. That's what they do as their work. And I don't blame anybody for working in this country. So, not any blame there. They've done a great job of marketing themselves. They've created a huge following. It's great. What I have a problem with is Tennessee paid them to come do that. And that's what blows my mind. So you see this commission meeting, you hear what all of them are saying. Concern, 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 population's declining, let's take a bird off the limit. Well, I reached out finally after months asking if they paid the hunting public to come do what they did and show off our state with their videos on YouTube and with this video saying that's one of their favorites, come hunt it if you're a non-resident. And the email I got was interesting. Turns out they paid them $10,000 plus. That was TWRA's portion. So TWRA hired Brandt, which is like a licensing company. Brandt, B-R-A-N-D-T. They do the Go Outdoors Tennessee, Go Outdoors Virginia, Go Outdoors Georgia. They do all these different states. They handle their license sales, the app that you use probably, quota hunts, they handle all that. So it's somebody that Tennessee hires. Well, TWRA's portion was $10,000, and that's what they said in their email to me. And they even acknowledged the work with hunting public has resulted in more recruitment, which is fine. But do we really want to be recruiting more non-residents and residents to come hunt Tennessee with a declining population? Come hunt the deer. They want us to kill all the deer because they're CWD, so they're wanting us to really increase harvest on deer. Promote that. Why are we promoting our turkey hunting specifically to non-residents and residents to try to go kill all the turkeys? Come hunt Tennessee, it's fantastic. Well, that's not what you said in the commission meeting. Our population is declining, and you took a bird from me, basically gave it to the non-residents. So here's that email just to show you the email I received back. All right, so we've established the commission is concerned about our population of turkeys. The public is concerned about our population of turkeys, the resident public. And TWRA hired a YouTube group to come promote turkeys to everyone on Earth. So 600 and something thousand people, eyeballs, saw it. So what did that result in? Let's look at non-resident data from last turkey season, 2021. Here is license sales, and then I'm gonna have the WMA harvest only. And that's because most of your non-residents hunted WMAs. I'm sure there were quite a few guided hunts and things as well, but I'd like to look at the public land harvest because I really view that as the land that's supposed to be really managed by your TWRA, your state agencies. How did they do on reducing harvest there if they're concerned about population declines? So here is those two graphics, and I'll come back and review those. All right, so non-resident license sales from March to May. So that's spring, people who bought licenses that were non-residents in spring. I assume quite a few non-residents probably purchased them prior to March, but this is from March to May. We saw a 45% increase in total license sales, 74% increase in 7-day, 27% increase in annual, 45 total. That's a pretty massive increase. I mean, and the chart below there shows the graph, and you see a giant spike. So you see that, and then I showed you the harvest report, and on the harvest report WMAs, I took 4 seasons, 16, 17, 18, and 19. I totaled them up and divided by 4 to get an average, and the average was 1,720 birds. And then I took 2021 only and did it, and it was 2,438 birds on WMAs. So that's a 42% increase in harvest on WMAs, which correlates pretty closely. 45% increase in non-resident licenses, 42% in harvest on WMAs. Again, we're in a declining population, especially public lands, and we just had a monster harvest on public land. I get the overall state harvest was down from 2020, still above average, but we had a huge increase on public land, WMAs. So I also have one more graphic, the you know, non-residents putting in for quota hunts or residents putting in for quota hunts. A lot of that's going to be residual because of the large increase in popularity of public land. People are starting to get crowded, so they're putting in for these quota hunts. Here's that graphic. It shows a 35% increase in applications in 2021 over 2020, which 2020 was, you know, a lot of people hunting. But from one year to the next, what happened? 35% increase. Here's that. And so that basically wraps up what I was wanting to show. I've just been following this. I see my commission telling me, I was driving to Minnesota and watched the whole thing. It was over an hour long of all these animals. They got to turkey and it really piqued my interest. I see them all talking about how worried they are about our turkeys. The public telling them, we're so worried about our turkeys. They're really declining. We got to do something. They took measures, decreased the bag limit by 1, but then they promoted it to everyone and really hyped up people to come hunt Tennessee. That doesn't make sense. Those two things cannot go together in the plan. You cannot take a bird off the bag limit and then advertise that same species as heavily as possible to get more people to come. I have my speculation as to reasons why. A non-resident license is $300 and something compared to what your residents are paying. You make a lot more money off those non-residents. Hopefully that money goes back into turkeys, but I haven't seen any new WMA openings for all these new people who are coming, and we're going to need them if that's going to be the new normal. I know personally I felt very crowded last year and heard a lot less gobbling than I have in previous years when I hunted public land. So that's that. Again, people are going to say this is like a hate thing against the hunting public. It's not. Those guys seem like they're good hunters. They put out good quality YouTube content. They're great marketers. They've really built a base, doing great at their job. That's great. I don't think Tennessee should be paying them to come hunt our turkeys and promote turkey hunting at the same time that they're taking opportunity away from residents especially. In case a couple commissioners may see this, I'll offer what I think would be some excellent ideas going forward for the state of Tennessee. And this is just my ideas. I'm no scientist, but these seem fairly easy to implement. Arkansas has implemented a voluntary turkey stamp. It's making them well over 6 figures per year, and I bet they blow it out even bigger this year now that it's gaining in popularity. Voluntary turkey stamp. So you're basically having a turkey stamp, has some cool artwork on it. You sell it to us, I buy one, it comes in, I'm happy with it, and the money I give you for it goes back to turkeys specifically. And if I know it goes back to turkeys specifically, I'm gonna buy that stamp every year, I promise you. That's one idea. Another idea with this giant influx of non-residents, especially I think a lot of people from Illinois, Kentucky, states that open a week or two after us really show up in the early portion. You might look at what Mississippi's doing. They set a quota on the number of non-residents that can hunt the whole state. It's not per WMA. It's just we're going to let in X number of people to hunt the first 2 weeks of season from out of state on public land. If you want to go hunt private land in Tennessee, come on. But in the way they have it set up, if you want to hunt private land, you can go no matter what. If you want to hunt public land the first 2 weeks of Mississippi season, you have to draw a permit to do that. After that, it's open game. But that just helps curb the mass influx on the front end of hunters. So I'd suggest you look maybe at what Mississippi's doing. I'm really looking forward to what the studies are going to show that they referenced in that 2020. Can't wait to see the data on that. I hope they make wise decisions there. And hopefully we can turn this thing around. I think we had a really good hatch this past year. I'm not trying to be negative with my thoughts here. I'm just trying to provide data, hopefully reach some people. And this is like the right hand doing something the left hand doesn't know about. You know, it's like you're doing two different things here, two different goals. One is trying to get more people to come shoot turkeys, while the others are trying to get people to shoot less turkeys. Those can't go together. I thought I'd leave it with a thought by Wayne Bailey, who's an incredible turkey biologist, in his book, 50 Years Hunting the Wild Turkey, just for y'all to dwell on. I think Wayne may have called this. He says, the current increase in both turkeys and turkey hunters means that turkey harvests will continue to rise for at least a few years, probably until the 21st century. By that time, all suitable habitat will be occupied. Thereafter, increase in humans and their contingent activities, particularly accompanying habitat loss, will reverse the upward trend of the turkey. The extent, scope, and speed of the decline will depend on a number of variables not easily measurable. We're in a battle right now in the southeast for turkeys. Wayne seemed to know it was coming. I beg Tennessee, let's do something, to increase our turkey populations. If you increase the turkey populations, you won't have to pay people to come promote the turkeys. People will want to come here if there's a turkey standing on top of every ridge in this state. People will come here, I promise. You won't have to promote it. But let's get together, let's get a plan, let's stick to the plan. If we're wanting to reduce turkey harvest, let's not market turkeys. If we're wanting to increase turkey harvest for some reason, I hope we get to that one day, market it. That just seems like common sense to me. Hope y'all enjoyed this. If you know of a commissioner in Tennessee who might find this interesting, email it to them or tag them. I don't know if they have social media. And if you're in Georgia, I'd be investigating some stuff as well, because they're paying big bucks for these folks and also reducing your opportunity. And in other states where you see things like this, I'd probably check it out, because I think there's some things going on you might find interesting, and just, stay on top of it to try to make sure you're doing your part to help the wild turkey. That's all I want to do. Join TFT, Turkeys for Tomorrow. Buy you a hat like this. Listen to us on the Turkey Hunter podcast. I don't make any money off turkeys. I just do this stuff for fun. But give some money to these folks. Give some money to NWTF. Anybody helping turkeys, help them out. Thanks, guys.